During his visit to China, Bangladesh's interim chief Mohammad Yunus made a direct pitch to Beijing. Yunus urged Beijing to make the ocean-facing part of Bangladesh an extension of the Chinese economy. In a video that went viral on social media, Yunus urged the Chinese government to set up its economic base in the country while saying that Dhaka was the only guardian of the ocean in that region.
Eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They are landlocked country, landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. We are the only guardian of the ocean for all this region. So this opens up a huge possibility. So this could be an extension of the Chinese economy, build things, produce things, market things, bring things to China, bring it out to the whole rest of the world. That's a production house for you. So that's the opportunity we should seize and we should implement, we should get it done. Nepal has unlimited hydropower, which is a blessing. Bhutan has unlimited hydropower. That's a blessing. We can bring it to our purpose, to our setting up our factories and so on. And from Bangladesh, you can go anywhere you want because the ocean is in our backyard. So this is the opportunity that we want to take. And not necessarily it will be something you produce and sell it to the world. You can produce in Bangladesh, sell it to China too.
Earlier, Yunus also said that it's important for Bangladesh to see China as a good friend. Wrapping up his visit, Yunus said that he expects a new phase of ties between China and Bangladesh. The move could spell further tensions for India. The Bay of Bengal and the Indian Ocean region are strategically important for India's safety and sovereignty. And any Chinese presence could pose a significant threat to India. We have my colleague Sandeep Unidan, editor of News9 Plus, now joining us. Sandeep, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the broadcast to talk to us. These statements, look at the directness of it all. He's literally saying, you know, it's an extension of China's economy, and you're talking about a region that's so strategically crucial to India.
Absolutely, Krishna, and the fact is that, it is the point that he mentioned about India's Seven Sisters being landlocked that actually should worry New Delhi, because this has been one of our geopolitical Achilles heels, the fact that our 7 northeastern states are landlocked, and that's the reason that we've reached out to Bangladesh in the past under Sheikh Hasina. We've got access to Chittagong, the ports of Bangladesh, and of course there is that very vital Siliguri corridor, Krishna, the fact that you have just 20 kilometers of Indian territory separating India from Bhutan. It's called the Chicken's Neck for a very strategic reason. I think a lot of people will be looking very closely at the Chicken's Neck because that is the only sliver of Indian territory that separates Bhutan from Bangladesh. And the fact that he mentioned India's vulnerabilities there should have a lot of eyebrows being raised in New Delhi, particularly given the fact that this comes a few days before the BIMSTEC summit that's set to begin in Bangkok on the 5th of April. There is, of course, a question mark for different reasons over the summit because of the earthquake. But now with Mohammad Yunus pitching China, asking China to become more involved in the Northeast, roping in Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh minus India, that should worry policymakers here in New Delhi, Krishna.
Should worry policymakers in New Delhi, says Sandeep. Sandeep, stay with us. Let's again listen into what exactly Mohammad Yunus had to say on his visit to Beijing.
Eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They are landlocked country, landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. We are the only guardian of the ocean for all this region. So this opens up a huge possibility. So this could be an extension of the Chinese economy, build things, produce things, market things, bring things to China, bring it out to the whole rest of the world. That's a production house for you. So that's the opportunity we should seize and we should implement, we should get it done. Nepal has unlimited hydropower, which is a blessing. Bhutan has unlimited hydropower. That's a blessing. We can bring it to our purpose, to our setting up our factories and so on. And from Bangladesh, you can go anywhere you want because the ocean is in our backyard. So this is the opportunity that we want to take. And not necessarily it will be something you produce and sell it to the world. You can produce in Bangladesh, sell it to China too.
That was the direct pitch of Mohammad Yunus. Sandeep, not only does that pitch involve Bhutan and Nepal cooperating with Bangladesh, we're also talking about Bangladesh at a stage where the relationship between India and Bangladesh have gone from bad to worse ever since Mohammad Yunus took charge of the country. And this is clearly displaying where he wants Bangladesh to be, where he wants the proximity to be, and that's not with India, it is with China. The question here is that, what will happen to Nepal and Bhutan in the process?
Absolutely, Krishna. There's a big statement there from Mohammad Yunus, and the fact is that he seems to be pitching for some kind of CPAC kind of project for Bangladesh. The CPAC, of course, being the China-Pakistan economic corridor that extends from China to Pakistan and gives China access to the Arabian Sea. And here he seems to be pitching for another CPAC equivalent which leads China into the Bay of Bengal. Now, the Bay of Bengal is a very, very big area of concern for India, given the fact that it is where a number of Indian naval bases are located. That is from where our nuclear submarines, our strategic fleet operates out of. And China has been making steady inroads into Bangladesh. It doesn't have overland connectivity to Bangladesh, but it has been building up building up Bangladesh's maritime infrastructure. It's built a submarine base near Chittagong. Believe it or not, it's called the BNS Sheikh Hasina. I'm not sure if the name still exists, but that is China for you in our backyard, in our strategic backyard. That should cause a lot of worry. The fact that Yunus is now pitching for a CPAC equivalent for Bangladesh, for China to access the Bay of Bengal directly. He, of course, brings Nepal in, he brings Bhutan in, and of course Bangladesh. But the interesting part is the last part of his statement there, Krishna, where he mentions that he asked the Chinese to remove the impediments, whatever impediments they may exist in the path of this kind of a project. And that possibly is a clear reference to India being the impediment there, because there is Indian territory. He forgets that all of those landlocked states that he mentioned, the Seven Sisters, that is something that comes between Bangladesh, Bhutan and Nepal. So he's talking of impediments. The jury is out on what he means exactly by that, of course.
The jury is out on what he means by that. Also, this will again, we are just moving back from really terrible times as far as the relationship with China is concerned. And now, there is more spanner in the works when it comes to resetting that relationship, so to speak.
Absolutely, Krishna. China and India relations are back on track. There's talk of an economic relationship resuming after the border settlement, the agreement to demilitarize the border or de-escalate from those two last remaining flashpoints of the last 5 years. But that is one part of the picture. The other one is China's consistent aims to access the Bay of Bengal. It's got access to the Arabian Sea, of course, through Pakistan, but access to the Bay of Bengal is going to be one very key strategy that the Chinese have been negotiating for the last couple of years. And here's Mohammad Yunus opening up Bangladesh, saying that we are open for China to come in, become an extension of the Chinese economy, and please remove impediments in the path. We can all be one big BIMSTEC minus India.
One big BIMSTEC minus India. In that sense, India right now has to start recalibrating its relationship with both China and Bangladesh, isn't it, Sandeep? It's a crucial time, and it'll be interesting to see what India's Ministry of External Affairs does at this stage, and what, in fact, the Indian administration does.
Absolutely, Krishna. And in fact, the questions that would be raised is that Mohammad Yunus is not an elected government official. He is a chief advisor, and he seems to be conducting foreign policy, economic policy, political decisions of the last couple of months, without being legitimately elected into office. And this is the question that we have all been raising in the MEA has been asking this, and even the Bangladesh opposition parties, the BNP and the Awami League have been asking, how is it that an unelected official, this chief advisor, is sitting over there and taking decisions of such sweeping nature that could actually alter the geography, the geopolitics of Bangladesh. These questions of legitimacy of Mohammad Yunus and his office are something that is likely to be raised in the coming days, Krishna.
Sandeep Unnidan, editor of News9 Plus, they are joining us for that big story that we're tracking. Thank you, Sandeep, for being with us.
Pleasure to be here.
Moving on. Moving on to the latest developments on the Waqf Amendment Bill. Currently, Mr. Kiren Rijiju is addressing the media. Let's listen in.
Unconstitutional, unlawful बताना, इससे बड़ा झूठ क्या हो सकता है? और ये देश संविधान से चलता है, कानून से चलता है, किसी का ज़मीन कैसे छीन सकता है? इस तरह का झूठे बातें करके लोगों को बरगलाने का काम करना ये तो ठीक नहीं है। ये कौन लोग हैं जो झूठ बात बोल करके आम लोगों को गुमराह करने का जो प्रयास कर रहा है? वो कौन लोग हैं? मैं आप लोग से भी अनुरोध करता हूँ, आप चेहरा पहचानिए। ये कौन कौन सा राजनीतिक पार्टी के नेता और कौन लोग हैं समाज में जो खुले आम पर झूठ बोल करके लोगों को बरगलाने का प्रयास करना, ये कहाँ का तरीका है? हमारा हिंदुस्तान जैसे आज़ादी कहाँ मिलेगा? जो चाहे बोल सकते हैं। संसद का अंदर में जो मेंबर है वो बोल सकते हैं, संसद के बाहर आम लोगों का भी बोलने का पूरा आज़ादी है। तो अपने ही देश में अपना देश का बदनाम करना ये कितना गलत बात है। इसलिए जब वो वक्फ अमेंडमेंट बिल लाएंगे भरपूर चर्चा होना चाहिए। इसलिए तो जेपीसी बना करके इस बिल को रेफर किया गया है। आज तक हिंदुस्तान के इतिहास में इतना व्यापक चर्चा किसी बिल के ऊपर में नहीं हुआ है। आज तक का इतिहास में जितना जॉइंट पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी बनी है, किसी भी सब्जेक्ट पर इतना बारीकी से व्यापक चर्चा नहीं हुई। 97 लाख से भी ज़्यादा मेमोरेंडम्स, रिक्वेस्ट, सजेशंस रिसीव किया है। तो इससे ज़्यादा वाइडर कंसल्टेशन और क्या हो सकता है? और तब जा कर के वक्फ अमेंडमेंट बिल को फिर से हम पार्लियामेंट में लेके आ रहे हैं। तो इसमें पूरा तरीके से रूल के मुताबिक प्रोसीड्योर को मेंटेन करते हुए संवैधानिक प्रक्रिया है, हम पूरा मेंटेन कर रहे हैं। तो जिसको जिस पार्टी का भी मत रखना है पार्लियामेंट में रखिए। हम 2 घंटे, 3 घंटे, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 घंटे देर रात तक अगर चर्चा करना है, हम चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार हैं। हमने अपने तरीके में पार्लियामेंट्री मिनिस्टर की ओर से भी मैं कह रहा हूं कि हमारे पार्लियामेंट के फोरम में, पार्लियामेंट के फ्लोर में नियम के तहत जो जितना बोल सकता है बोलने का पूरा आज़ादी है। इसलिए मैं अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं, बाहर से हमने पूरा व्यूज़ ले लिया है, मेमोरेंडम्स, रिप्रेजेंटेशंस पूरा कलेक्ट कर लिया है। अब जब बिल पार्लियामेंट के अंदर चर्चा होगी तो पूरा इसको बारीकी से चर्चा होना चाहिए। एक एक प्रावधान, एक एक सेक्शन और उसमें जो क्लोज है, हम क्या क्या चेंजेस ला रहे हैं और क्या क्या पुराने को रख रहे हैं, इसका बारीकी से चर्चा होना चाहिए। और एक एक पॉइंट का हम जवाब देंगे, लेकिन चर्चा तो होना चाहिए। हंगामा से कुछ नहीं होता है। इसलिए मुझे ये पिछले 2-3 दिनों में जो देखने को मिला, इससे बिल्कुल अच्छा नहीं लगा। पूरा झूठ बात फैला करके कई कई जगह में लाउड स्पीकर लगा के पूरा ब्रॉडकास्ट कर रहे हैं कि मुसलमानों का ज़मीन छीनने जा रहा है, मस्जिद छीनने जा रहा है, कब्रिस्तान छीनने जा रहा है। ऐसे क्यों झूठ बोलते हैं? वो जो बोलने वाला लोगों का चेहरा भी पहचानी है, क्योंकि CAA जब लाया था तब भी यही झूठे बातें इन्होंने किया था कि CAA लाएंगे तो मुसलमानों का अधिकार छिन जाएंगे, नागरिकता छिन जाएंगे, मुसलमानों को देश से बाहर कर देंगे, ऐसा बोला है। अब CAA कानून लग गया, साल भर हो गया, किसी एक मुसलमान का कोई अधिकार छीन लिया गया है? किसी का नागरिकता छीना है क्या? इतना ब्लैक एंड वाइट झूठ बोलने का कोई मतलब नहीं है। इसलिए मैं फिर से हाथ जोड़ करके सबको कहता हूं कि आप अगर बिल का विरोध करना है तो तर्क रख करके आप विरोध कीजिए। कौन सा प्रावधान को आप विरोध करते हैं बताइए, और ये भी बताइए कि गैर संवैधानिक कैसे है वो भी बताइए। ऐसे झूठ बात फैलाने से तो होगा नहीं। तो मैं आप लोगों के माध्यम से भी फिर से मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, आज ईद का दिन है, झूठ बिल्कुल नहीं बोलना चाहिए, चाहे वो मुसलमान हो या गैर मुसलमान हो। हाँ, सच बात है, ईद का दिन में दिल से बात निकलना चाहिए, झूठ बात बिल्कुल नहीं बोलना चाहिए। वो ईद का दिन भी अगर झूठ बोलेगा तो वो तो इसका मतलब वो नकली आदमी है। इसलिए मैं पुनः आग्रह करता हूँ कि हम लोग जब बिल आने वाले हैं तो फिर उसको चर्चा के लिए तैयार करें। बिल्कुल बहस होना चाहिए, पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी है, खुल करके बहुत बारीकी से बहस होना चाहिए, डिबेट एंड डिस्कशन, ये सबसे बड़ा हमारा ताकत है भारत का।
इंग्लिश में बोल दीजिए।
My special appeal to everybody is, when we are preparing to bring Waqf Amendment Bill in the parliament, we must participate in the debate and discussion on the floor of the House. Outside the parliament, a record numbers of deliberations, consultations have taken place. JPC has gone on record to have the widest ever consultation process and highest ever representations being received in the history of democratic India. No other committee has gone so deep. So government has, with a very open heart, referred the Waqf Amendment Bill to the Joint Parliamentary Committee, and the Joint Parliamentary Committee had deliberated in detail and also given opportunity to everyone. Now, when the bill is ready, I want to request all the political parties to participate and make your point on the floor of the parliament. Please don't mislead. In the past few days, I have received very disturbing news of misleading and spreading lies. Some of the specific thing I want to tell, that some people are saying that this Waqf Amendment Bill is unconstitutional. This Waqf rule, these Waqf provisions, these were in existence before independence. We had pre-independent laws, 1913 Musalman Act, and 1923, 1931, 1954 after independence, 4 major amendments, 1995 Waqf Amendment Bill was passed. All these provisions are in existence in the past. How can Waqf Act be illegal if it was in existence before the independence? So please don't mislead. And the innocent Muslims are being told and misled by saying that the government is going to snatch the properties and rights of the Muslims. The falsehood is breaching all the records. They are saying that this Waqf Amendment provision will take away the qabristans and the masjids. What can be a more blatant lies than this? So the false narrative being spread by some of the people are very detrimental to our society and nation. I would like to request everyone, please mark and identify those leaders who are lying. These same people had misled the nation during CAA. The Citizenship Amendment Act was brought in, and these people said the CAA was brought in to take away the citizenship rights and status of the Muslims. Has any Muslim lost the status of citizenship in the past 1 year? So this kind of misleading campaign and totally misguiding the innocent people are totally uncalled for and condemnable. And I would like to make a very humble appeal that today is Eid, and on the very pious day of Eid, please don't lie. Today also some of the Muslims were asked to come to the prayer in masjid with a black band in the arms. Can you misuse the holy day, a pious day like Eid, for their political gain? This is very unfortunate in our nation. India is a secular country, and our approach is secular. Prime Minister Modi's approach is very simple and clear. Sabka saath, sabka vikas. We think for everybody. As a minority affairs minister, I am very proud to say that minorities are safest in India, and minorities enjoy the best rights of freedom in India. I've never seen any other country having this much of space, freedom for even the smallest of the communities. We belong to minority community, but we are proud Indian. We don't feel neglected. No minority community has been given any kind of treatment which would make them feel unsafe in this country. So
that is the Minister for Minority Affairs, Kiren Rijiju, hitting out against all those creating misinformation and false narratives around the Waqf Amendment Bill. We have my colleague Brijesh Pandey now joining us live from the newsroom for more. Brijesh, that's a very clear message coming in from Kiren Rijiju. In fact, he's taken the right example. There were similar fears that were caused when the CAA was going to be implemented, that the fundamental rights of the Muslim community will be taken away from them. Similarly, here he is saying that those creating a false narrative against the Waqf Amendment Bill should be ashamed, because there is no such thing. There is no threat to the Indian Muslim because of it.
Well, I think, what is happening is that the government is likely to bring the Waqf Amendment Bill in Lok Sabha on Wednesday. And what Kiren Rijiju is trying to do is that, early morning there was a call that Muslims who are going to go and offer their prayer should wear a black armband to express their displeasure with the Waqf Amendment Bill. A large number of Muslim organizations have opposed this Waqf Amendment Bill, and so has other political parties also giving their own input, and they felt that they should be incorporated at the time of discussion. What the government is trying to do is that on the occasion of Eid, the Minorities Affairs Minister, who also happens to be the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, coming out and trying to debunk the opposition claims and counterclaims by saying that what the opposition is doing is nothing but spreading lies about the Waqf bill. What the opposition is doing is they are spreading canards, but they are not able to prove it. They are saying that all those who are saying that the lands of Muslims will be snatched away from them, and or the lands on which the holy sites are built will be taken away. He's saying that nothing of that sort is going to happen, and he gave various examples to illustrate or embellish his point of view as far as the government is concerned. He also goes on to say that we are willing to discuss the entire Waqf Bill amendment threadbare. Any and every single doubt related to this bill will be discussed inside the parliament, so there should be no fear about it. He basically appealed to the opposition party, saying that do not disrupt the house, let there be debate. You can debate on any point whatsoever which is related to Waqf Amendment Bill, and the government would be more than willing to answer and or solve all the queries posed by the opposition parties. So it's an appeal by the government to make sure that one Waqf Bill is likely to be introduced on the 2nd of April, which is day after tomorrow. There should be discussion, there should be parliament business happening rather than disruption, which may lead to adjournment. So I think the government is trying to send message to the opposition parties that how they should behave. They are willing to discuss every single contentious issue as far as Waqf bill is concerned, but they are requesting opposition to make sure that the parliament functions and a decision can be taken.
They resist, I can understand, because for the first time we are going to ensure that the Waqf properties are used for the welfare of the common Muslims. So some people are having a problem. So, but these people, the influential people who are in the control of the Waqf properties, are in minority. They are not majority.
किरण जी, एक छोटा सा सवाल है. इस बिल को लेकर सरकार ने अपने सभी जो सहयोगी दल हैं एनडीए के, उनसे बातचीत कर ली है. समर्थन के लिए सारे तैयार हैं. टीडीपी जेडीयू
सिर्फ एनडीए ही नहीं, वो इंडी गठबंधन का भी कई सांसद मुझे मिल करके बोल रहे हैं कि जल्दी लाओ. वो तो एक नैरेटिव बनाया, वो डर के मारे कुछ एमपी लोग अपना नेता को डरते हैं तो वो नहीं बोल रहे हैं. मैंने पिछली बार सदन में भी बोला है, कुछ मुस्लिम एमपीज में मेरे पास आके बताया कि सारा वक्त प्रॉपर्टी तो कुछ माफियाओं के कब्जा में है. तो माफिया और कुछ इन्फ्लुएंशियल लीडर्स लोग अगर वक्त प्रॉपर्टी को कब्जा करके रखा है तो इसको विरोध तो सब करते हैं. इसलिए ये एनडीए इंडिया गठबंधन को मतलब ही नहीं है. सब लोग चाहते हैं कि वक्फ अमेंडमेंट बिल जल्दी लाना चाहिए और इसको ठीक ठाक करके आम मुसलमानों को भलाई के लिए जल्दी कदम उठाना चाहिए. तो मांग सबका है, एक दो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का नहीं है.
The big divide over the Waqf Amendment Bill is where we are putting the focus on at this hour. Amid the continued row over the Waqf Amendment Bill, NDA allies seem to have taken a different road from the BJP. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu assured the Muslim community in his state that his government will ensure the protection of Waqf properties. However, he did not specifically refer to the Waqf Amendment Bill during his speech. He said, and I quote, "I assure that our government will protect the properties of the Waqf board. We will maintain communal harmony and help Muslim families progress financially. The Telugu Desam party will always stand by Muslims," unquote. Meanwhile, Reportedly, another key ally, JDU, has given 3 suggestions to the government regarding the Waqf bill. JDU has suggested that since land is a state subject, the new law should also uphold this priority. The new law will not be applied retrospectively, provided the Waqf property is registered. This means that registered Waqf properties will remain unaffected. However, if a property is disputed or government-owned and not registered as Waqf, its future will be decided based on the standards set in the Waqf bill. Additionally, if a Waqf property is located on government land, its fate will also be determined according to the bill's provisions. JDU has further suggested that if a Waqf property is unregistered but has a religious structure, such as a mosque or a dargah, it should not be demolished. Instead, its status should be preserved. We have a very special guest joining us now. We have Mr. KV Prasad, senior journalist, now being with us on the broadcast. KV Prasad, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us. Talk to us. You have NDA allies taking a different route even as the Waqf Amendment Bill is on the threshold of being introduced in the House.
Well, I think let us get this clear. Both the Janata Dal United and the Telugu Desam Party have had a different profile vis-a-vis the minorities, in particular the Muslims. In the sense they have a very large backing, a large number of their constituents come from this community. And the TDP in Andhra and even undivided Andhra Pradesh had the backing of the minority community for a very long. Same if you go across to Bihar, the Janata Dal United has had a fair section of people coming from that minority community. And of course, we all know, as we look for probably in the month of October, Bihar is headed for assembly elections. And Mr. Nitish Kumar, who is in the driver's seat, an ally of the NDA at the center and also at the state, would find it extremely difficult to explain to constituents other than his own supporters, how is it that possible that he is not protecting the interest? What are the fears have to be addressed? So I think this is a political issue for these two parties. More importantly, for the Janata Dal United, which has to face polls in a few months' time from now, Krishna.
Yeah, the Janata Dal United will have to face polls from now, but the Telugu Desam Party doesn't have to at this stage. But talk to us in terms of, you just heard Union Minister for Minority Affairs and Parliamentary Affairs, Kiren Rijiju, hitting out against all those who are spreading a false narrative against the Waqf bill, that it will threaten the fundamental rights of the Muslims in the country. Clearly, the NDA is sort of doing the groundwork to ensure that the Waqf Amendment Bill gets passed in Parliament.
Yes, of course, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister is primarily responsible. He is the chief whip of the government, and it is his job to ensure that he has the numbers. He has the numbers to push to make sure that the bill that is being piloted by, and in this case, probably he himself would do it as a Minority Affairs Minister. So he has to make sure he has the numbers to get it vote. And what is most important is have both the allies on board. Remember, at this point of time, we all know in terms of mathematics, 240 with the BJP, the rest component is made up by the TDP and the JDU, who are supporting the government from inside. So the government would not like to be embarrassed on this issue, especially from its own allies. In fact, in the press conference that you just referred to, Mr. Rijiju, when asked this question, rather said parties outside of the NDA, rather some he hinted people in the India alliance are also with him on this. So kind of that's a political push that he has to also make sure that he has the numbers. So I think it's perfectly understandable. But eventually, the government has just about 2 days to get it through Parliament, because if April 2nd is what a likely date your colleague Brajesh did mention, Wednesday. So we only have Friday half day, up to Friday half day. So it has to go through the House in Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha, whichever house is introduced, and passed in the other house. So a very, very tight window is staring the government. And I'm sure the government, that's why, was trying to whip up the numbers and make sure that everything is smoother than expected. Krishna?
KV Prasad, I also want to ask, JDU has suggested that since land is a state subject, the new law should also uphold this priority, and has given a couple of other suggestions as well. Do you think, the BJP will, include these changes in the new Waqf Amendment Bill?
Well, that's a case of political negotiation. In fact, the JDU will have to take a call, and if the if they have made this pitch, as you just mentioned, so obviously JDU's concerns or JDU's suggestion will have to be part of an official amendment, which makes then this amendment, if it is not part of the bill, because we have not seen the redrafted bill or the amendment bill post the Jagan Megapal committee report, if what all recommendations they have made and how much have they been incorporated and stuff like issues like that. So all these will have to be factored in. But certainly, if the JDU's concern are taken on board, the government will have to move official amendments part of it. So I think that will be the only time we'll have to wait and see, and to see if the government has acceded to and to what extent its allies' interests have been accommodated. Krishna.
Right. Stay with us. Meanwhile, speaking at TV9's What India Thinks Today summit, Chirag Paswan said that not all Muslims are against the Waqf Amendment Bill and that he will be the voice of those who are minority among minorities.
पूरा समाज या पूरा संप्रदाय नाराज हो जाए ऐसा नहीं होता है। कई लोग ऐसे हैं मुसलमान समाज के ही जो संशोधन हुए हैं उसका समर्थन कर रहे हैं। जेपीसी का गठन हुआ, मेरी मांग इतनी ज़रूर थी सरकार का हिस्सा होने के बावजूद भी कि कमेटी में ये बिल ज़रूर जाना चाहिए। कैबिनेट में आ गया, सीधा पार्लियामेंट में इसको लाके सो कॉल्ड जो लोग बोलते हैं बुलडोज नहीं किया जाना चाहिए था। मैंने भी ये मांग रखी थी अपनी सरकार के समक्ष। सरकार का हिस्सा होने के बावजूद मैंने कहा था कि कमेटी में जाना चाहिए ताकि जितने भी कंसर्न स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं वो आएँ और अपनी बातों को ज़रूर रखें। उनको अपनी बातों को रखने का मौका ज़रूर मिलना चाहिए। उन बातों को रखने के दौरान मुझे समझ में आया कि मुसलमान समाज के भी कई लोग ऐसे हैं जो संशोधन इसमें हो रहे हैं उसका समर्थन करते हैं। और ये होता है, हम लोगों ने 3 तलाक में भी हम लोगों ने देखा कि एक परसेप्शन बनाने का प्रयास किया जा रहा था कि पूरा मुसलमान समाज नाराज़ है, ये है, वो है, आक्रोश है, बट एक बड़ा वर्ग उन्हीं में से उसका समर्थन भी करता था। तो उसी तरीके से इसमें भी मैं बस उन लोगों की आवाज़ बनना चाहता हूँ जो माइनॉरिटी में भी माइनॉरिटी हैं, मैं उनकी आवाज़ बनना चाह रहा हूँ।
That's all we have time for on this show. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.